Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Road Trip with Jen. Tonight I have two special guests. I have Joedy Cook and Dave Jones from the North American Dogman Project, also known as the NADP. We will be discussing their background, and then we will be discussing one of our favorite subjects, their favorite subject, Dogman. Welcome, guys.
How you doing?
Hi, Jen.
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
All right. Who would like to go first and tell us a little bit about themselves? I have Joedy.
Yep.
And you can't see him. And I have Dave.
Yeah,
He's
my
hiding.
camera's off. I'm
He's
hiding.
hiding.
I think he's in a den somewhere here in Ohio. I just haven't figured out where it's at yet.
Yeah.
Who would like to go ahead and tell us about themselves tonight? A little bit of background and what all you've done. I know both have a long history in the paranormal field.
Oh, let's see. I've been doing this. This is Joedy. I've been doing this for close to 30 years now. I got into the UFO phenomena, and with the local UFO group, and we this is when public access TV was like really big before cable and some of the stuff we have now. And we did this live television show the first Wednesday of every month called UFO Update Live. And we had guests and everything on. It was a good show. It ran for about 10 years. You were able to see it in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, and a little bit of part of Pennsylvania. And we started to get a lot of Bigfoot reports. So myself and George Clapperson, who was the author in the first book we did on the Bigfoot in Ohio, started to do all the Bigfoot stuff and kind of like fell into it, gave up the UFO stuff, stuck with the Bigfoot stuff. And, things are getting pretty slow, in the Bigfoot stuff. I did paranormal research for a while. Then, got back into the Bigfoot stuff, and then, just started to get into the Dogman phenomenon, which I find really fascinating now. I really enjoy it. There's a lot of stuff out there, and, just been doing it like that.
Now, did you ever actually go out and ghost hunt? I know you said the paranormal. Sorry, you see my 2-year-old and his dad running behind me. He needed a drink. But have you ever actually went out and done ghost hunts? I know.
Oh, yeah. I did some stuff with Monroe Paranormal out of Cleveland or Akron area. I did some stuff with them. Did some stuff with the local group down here. I actually did it. I enjoyed it. I had a good time doing it. It was a good break from the Bigfoot stuff.
I know you were heavy into Sasquatch for a long time.
For a real long time. A very long time. And, I still like the Bigfoot stuff. I'll still do the Bigfoot stuff. It's right now in Ohio, there are hundreds of Bigfoot researchers out here in Ohio, right now. So it's really, really hard. And, the field has gotten to the point where it's, really, I don't know. It's a big click right now, is what it turned into. So, so I don't deal with it that much.
And how about you, Dave? I know you've dabbled in ghost hunt and still do. We actually had talked about a ghost hunt earlier this year.
I know we need to get together and do something. That would be great. Yeah, I've been now, let's see, I think this is year number 13 or 14. I think it was around 2004 or 5 when I started. you know, when TAPS came out, and I'd grown up in Michigan in a house that was about 100 years old. Lots of activity in there, not much parental supervision, and it was just me and my stepsister for the most part. So we had some activity, and then, yeah, when TAPS came out, I wanted to get, you know, I wanted to have my own, you know, try to answer some questions and stuff like that. So that's when I started doing the paranormal stuff. And probably 5 years after I got into it, I wasn't really getting any evidence other than we did have a few minor experiences, but then I hooked up with another group and joined them, and they were super active. I mean, we were doing, we were doing 1 to 2 investigations every week. And I met a guy who could really catch EVPs, and he showed me how to do it. And then I started getting addicted to the whole audio thing, because we had tried everything to capture spirits on video, which is next to impossible. So I went into the direction of audio and started recording just tens of thousands of ghost voices. It's so bad that it haunted me clear out of the place I used to live in. We used to all do, our team used to do the audio at my place. And just by tuning in and doing the audio there, we literally haunted ourselves in good old Lebanon, Ohio here, which is extremely haunted town. Shakers and Quakers everywhere. So while I was doing that, this is crazy. In 2011, we locked down the city of Bellbrook, which is not too far from here, from Lebanon. We locked down the city of Bellbrook. We brought the Booth Brothers Sci-Fi Channel and some East Coast paranormal teams like Long Island Paranormal and some really cool teams in to just, you know, there was so much going on in this town that we set up all these locations for everybody to investigate at. Well, a week before that took off, we were in McGee Park in Bellbrook. There were 4 of us. And all of a sudden, 2 guys come running out of the woods, and they were kind of laughing and freaking out at the same time. They ran up to us, and they knew that we were there because they had heard about it. So they were like, "Wow, man, we just got chased out of a foundation back there by something, man. It was growling. You could hear it in the woods, you know, rustling and all that stuff." I've still got my recorders running, so as they're talking, I'm capturing growls. Not only did we capture growls, we heard what we thought were chest pounds. It was boom, boom, boom. And it sounded like if you were standing next to a silverback and he pounded his chest, you could feel it through the ground for sure. And this is how this was. So that happened twice. And I've got a video on YouTube about that. It shows all the audio and everything. Well, at the time, I was talking to one of the spirits, the regulars in the McGee Park. His name was Wilbur, and Wilbur was responding. And I said, "Hey, man, hey, Wilbur, are you there?" And he responds. I said, "Man, what's going on?" And he yells, "Bigfoot." And at the time, I was doing a ghost box session. I had the ghost box sitting on a rock about 3 inches above the water for good conductivity, and I had my ghost box in there on a pair of iPod speakers. That way everybody can hear the responses, and we all can try to determine what they say, you know, that kind of thing. And I was like, "Wilbur, what's going on?" And he goes, "Bigfoot." And at the time I didn't hear it. And I was like, man, this is crazy, you know. So we're still dealing with this stuff. And I go and do a call, and I got a response, like another growl, but it seemed like whatever it was moved downstream a little bit. So we were like, you know what, let's just get out of here. And that's how I met Joedy, because we called Joedy in. He was one of the celebrities at the event. So we called him in and had him check out McGee Park. And what's crazy, later when I was listening to some of the audio I was recording, there were other spirits there that were saying, "David, Bigfoot's here, Bigfoot's here." You know, so I was getting all these responses. I was like, holy crap, what a great concept. If I could go into the woods and talk to spirits and they tell me Bigfoot's there, you know, I thought that would be some validation that it exists. I mean, why would spirits lie to me anyway? I mean, they do, and we've caught them, but I just thought, wow, that would be kind of a neat thing. And one thing else that we captured a few days later, on the other side of Sugar Creek that runs through McGee Park there, we were walking down a trail on the other side of the creek. And as we're walking, I've got my recorder on, and I'm just making notes. And you can hear in my video the notes that I'm making. And then we hear a howl. Must have been about 30 yards from us. And you could feel this guttural howl through the ground. Everybody stopped, dead in our tracks. I dropped the F-bomb. Marcia, who's she's a paranormal investigator, but she's also like a council member of Bellbrook, pretty high up there. You know, everybody knows her stuff, and she's legit. And she was like, "Was that a person?" And then the other investigator with us said, "No, I think that might have been Bigfoot, you know, yelping or something." At the time, we didn't even know what Dogman was. I may have heard of it, but it just didn't dawn on me at all. Not until we were talking to Joedy and we saw his presentation. I was like, "Oh my God, what if that howl was a taw, man?" I was like, "That's crazy." So that's how I ended up hooking up with Joedy and getting involved with this. And since we've been out a few times at like Salt Fork and some other places, but yeah, now we're into the real stuff of the Dogman. It's like, hey, let's put a website together, get organized, and figure out what the hell's going on out there, because there's a lot of people, not only in this country but around the world, that are having these experiences with these giant canines in very rural places, and so it's been a crazy ride. But now we're at the point where we've gone to the field quite a bit, and even here in Germantown, which is super hot, we're experiencing things at night that we can't explain. That you know, it's either something paranormal or it's some animal that's moving about that that we can't really identify. I mean, we know that they're barred owls. We know that they're bobcats. Someone told us that a local person said, yes, there are bear there. Rare, but they've seen bear. But I don't think it's any of that. We ran into something that showed up on a FLIR thermal scope. It showed up as a black image, no heat signature at all, but you could see the black image. And after one of our investigators called it out, it took off. And when it took off, it felt like I don't know, like a buffalo just got up and took off right out 10 feet in front of us. I do have some of it on video, but we never saw any eyes or anything. So there's just some weird stuff happening out there. So, but anyway, that's kind of where I come from. You know what we're doing. Didn't mean to ramble. Sorry about that.
I had no idea how you guys met, and I did not know you were from Michigan either.
Yeah.
Now you talk. I'm making notes as you guys talk. You talked about the black image.
Yeah.
Most of the time, things would have a heat signature.
Yeah, that's and the gentleman that's our the NADP researcher that's with me. He logs 1,000 miles of hiking every year. He goes all over the country, and he doesn't carry a weapon at all. We don't carry any guns, because that's what the FLIR does. The FLIR warns you when something's coming. Like he's been out west and had bear and cougar approach him, and he can see them from far enough to at least get out of their way and that kind of thing. But he was really shaken because whatever it was, he said it was huge. It was right in front of him and it was moving. But he said it was black. It made no sense. None at all.
Any idea?
We have none. I mean, I was right there. I lit up. I was actually impressed with my reaction time. It was pretty damn good. I had an HD cam and I had flashlights with me. And as soon as that happened, I'm trying to think. I wasn't filming at the, I had to have been filming at the time because I think we heard something prior to that, because I did have the camera on as we were walking down the trail. But then when I heard that, I'd switched on about 4,500 lumens because I figured whatever it was, I was not going to run towards the light. And plus I have some bear spray and a machete and some stuff like that, just to, you know, and noisemakers, just to try to fend off what might be out there, because we don't know. We haven't seen really any other wildlife out there. No deer, no nothing. And it's a really bizarre place. I mean, sometimes we go and there's a lot of noise in the woods, a lot of just, you know, your normal insects and frogs, and you hear all that stuff and it's loud and it just, you know, it's kind of the music of the forest. And then you get up on one of those ridges, everything just stops. And that's when it just gets really strange back there. So that's kind of our weekend go-to place. And actually we're going to start camping back there because we need more time. You know, we're going to have to stay out there. It's just what we're going to have to do. We baited it the last time we went, but we didn't get anything. But we tried to stay out there, you know, 6 or 8 hours at least at a time, hiking through there. But that was crazy. I don't know. I would rather it be something physical than something paranormal, for sure. To deal with the physical, but if it's something, you know, we're gonna have to dig into the history. Could have been something Native American out there. I'm not sure, but there was something there, and it wasn't a barred owl. We heard them. They were in the gorge, and then they flew off, and then you could hear them in the distance. And that was the only thing out there making any noise that night. So interesting. But
I know when you said it was a black shadow without a signature, my mind automatically went to ghost hunting, that side of it.
Yeah.
But that's exactly where it went. Now, you talked about Germantown.
Yeah.
2016? I came over there that one night. That one weekend.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And we went, actually, Xander's dad that walked behind us, he came with me. And I actually I did the recording while we were out there, and I caught a few things.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And EVPs or something physical?
I'm not sure what it was, but I can tell you nothing answered Jody's whoop when he did it.
All right.
But I remember when he played the howls, we did get a response.
That's right. He did play those.
And I don't remember. It's been a couple of weeks since I listened to it. I'll try to send it over to you. But I got it's not normal noises. It's like footsteps and crunches, and you can hear noises like in the cornfields out there.
And where we were at is the hot spot. That whole road back there. I mean, there's probably a few square miles right there that are on fire. We've got another NADP member. His name's Michael, and he had his sighting out there when they were hunting. And not only that, his uncle was a first-hand eyewitness to the Butter Street monster. He almost hit it with a truck. I mean, he turned down Butter Street and it was standing in front of his truck.
Wow.
And he said, werewolf. It looked like a werewolf, you know. And back then, I mean, how can you go back, you know, you run back to the police and you say, hey man, there's a werewolf on Butter Street. I mean, that's insane. So at that point, you close your mouth, you get out of there, and you try to make sense of it somewhere else. I get home.
That actually sounds like a movie, Werewolf on Butter Street.
Yeah.
Butter Street Monster, yeah.
Yeah. But I know there's stuff coming up. I told you guys there's a few places here in Indiana that I want to check out. That's within a good hour, hour and a half, 2 places. And then we had talked about, I talked to Joedy earlier today, and we had talked about puck wedgies in Mound State Park.
Yeah, the pub wedgies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are evil little things. I'm not going to touch them.
Yeah, we've got reports of those in Kentucky at a campsite where there's some cabins, and they were gonna. These people I talked to said, "We'll guarantee you drive down there, you'll see them." I was like, "Okay, send me the address." We're going. So I'm still waiting for that information. So just as a cryptid, enthusiast and researcher, I'd really like to see anything that is not identified by science would be cool. So
there is a place in Kentucky, and I actually interviewed Cindy Voivoda from Hunters of the Unknown. They investigated it. It's, I can't think of it. I'm going to have to Google it. But it has to do with alien-looking creatures and that are cryptids. Have you heard anything about that?
Aliens are cryptids.
It's kind of like a weird-looking creature.
I know what you're talking about.
Hopkinsville.
Oh, the Hopkinsville goblins.
Yeah.
Now, are you talking about the? There's a few recent stories too. Are those the ones that they're calling rakes? Also, they're hairless, and they have big black eyes, and they seem more curious than anything.
These are the goblins. They got large ears, long arms that go all the way down to their feet. That whole family was terrorized by that.
Yep.
Oh, that's the one where they jumped up on. They were on the roof and everything, right?
And everything, yeah.
Yeah, and they came out and were shooting them, and they said that the bullets were hitting them, but it was kind of it was causing a. Did he say it was killing them, or did he say it was just?
They would like when you would shoot at them. I think they said either they would like puff away, or they would fall and come back up, or something to that effect. Yeah, they have a festival down there every year called the Little Green Man Day or something like that. There in Hopkinsville. So, yeah, it's supposed to be a really good event.
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, I actually met the girl, and I can't think of her name off the top of my head. It was her family was the one that it happened to.
Oh,
and
wow.
she's the one, and she's the one that runs the festival and everything. I met her at Mid-South one year. She was speaking there.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a real neat little thing. She spoke at Crypticon last year about it, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. And she said when they went down there, they didn't get anything, but they went and checked it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Flatwoods, where it was a one-time event. It's like the Flatwoods Monster was a one-time event, and so that's why, I mean, it's more folklore, but it's still popular,
right?
So yeah, it's interesting. The post stories are really good. I'm trying to think what was. I think that was like the only time, to be honest with you. I think that was like a one-time event that happened there, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was too, and it was quite a while ago.
Yeah. This was what 40 years ago.
Probably
that it happened
in the 60s. No. Yeah. 60s or 70s.
Yeah, it would have been the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Mid-South. Are you guys going this year?
No, I was supposed to speak there last year, and I ended up backing out because Dave and I were working on our documentary, and we needed to get done, and it was just one of those things that I just couldn't do. So Keith Age, who runs it, he kind of got mad at me because of that. But it's like, we got to get this done. There's someone that wanted to see it, for a possible, show idea and stuff. And, but it was just one of those things. And so he got upset. So, I mean, it's a neat event. It really is. It's probably, I would have to say, it's probably one of the best paranormal events out there.
Yeah, I went last year, and you had told me you weren't going to speak because of that.
Yeah.
And then we ended up going there, and we went to Waverly that night then.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a real neat event. I would love to do it. I feel bad, that I had to step out, but it was, like I said, it was nothing personal. It was just one of these things that, the documentary was priority, but we're doing, Hannah House this year. We're doing that. We're doing in October, we're doing, a 2-day event, at Post Town. That's the weekend of October 12th. It's the second time, but I can't remember the one event we did last year there at Post Town, Dave.
Yeah, what was that?
I can't remember the name of it.
Is it non-con?
I can't remember.
Poatstown?
Yeah, it's in October.
Yeah, it's non-con.
Yeah,
Poatstown.
yeah. So we're doing that this year.
They're having it again?
Yeah.
And we'll do the little one in Waynesville again, which is cool.
I think you should come to mine.
Good haunted town. Yeah. Yours is, where's yours at?
Up here in Goshen.
When is it?
July 28th. And they said that we are investigating afterwards. It's outdoors like Hannah House. And it's at Oxbow Park. And the park is the former Elkhart County Asylum or poorhouse.
Oh.
And it's 117 acres. And it's huge. So we have all kinds of room, and we're going to do an investigation afterwards.
Cryptid or paranormal?
It's going to be a combination of both. Because I've heard there's things that you can hear and that follow you in there from a few people. And the one person that I talked to said that it was on 4 feet and it was heavier than a coyote or anything around here. And it's wooded, so you never know what's in there.
Yeah,
they always seem to put those poorhouses in the middle of nowhere. We went to the Brown County poorhouse, and the guy that stayed there had mentioned that he thinks he saw Bigfoot around there, and it was in the middle of nowhere, super haunted too.
Well, that's not far from there. It takes me about 20 minutes to get there, and I live outside of Goshen. And that's where I saw my Bigfoot last fall. So they are around here.
Well, it's like that picture you sent me of that thing on the hillside.
Yeah.
I'm really convinced that's a Dogman there. That picture, I'm pretty amazed with that. I mean, because when I sat there and I took it and I was showing the ears, the snout. I mean, it was a good picture. I mean, this thing was sitting there watching you guys.
That's actually behind my mom's house.
Oh, behind your mother's house, yeah.
Yeah, in the field.
Did you show her that picture, or did you tell her about it?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't told her anything.
Hey, Mom, look at this. Yeah.
So did you install some trail cams up there, permanent ones?
I'm going to. It's about the time for them to come back around. And I took those pictures in May, so it's getting close. And that's where Caden had all his sightings and stuff, and where I heard the growls at.
Does your mom have Wi-Fi?
She does.
You can set up trail cams with Wi-Fi and monitor them from your house.
Yeah.
I live I live
Wouldn't that
0.7 miles away.
Oh,
so.
geez. Yeah. If you could see something, you could run out and
Well,
definitely have an encounter.
Do you remember me telling you I heard the taps on my metal roof last year?
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's close enough where it can come down here. And it's a straight shot from her house to mine. So the trail cams are ready to go. And Cadence and his friends said 2 weeks ago that something was looking in his bedroom window with red eye shine. So it's that time of year.
Yep.
And Indiana's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. The stories that we've heard out of there recently, there's some really crazy ones. Both Bigfoot and Dogman.
I was told, it's been a couple of years ago up by South Bend, that, well, they came to the conference too in Germantown. The other couple that came with me.
Oh, right.
Yeah. After they came there, she was telling me the husband said he saw something cross the road in front of him out by their house in South Bend.
Mm.
By a park. So
I remember the south of Fort Wayne. Remember that west of Fort Wayne where those hunters had that encounter? Said they shot them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunters from Greensburg.
That's what I was telling Joedy today, is that I sent you guys that link for the area, and we're going to go check that out sometime this summer. And there's another one over around the area too. It's not real close to it. So I've got 2 places to go. That's within 2 hours of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so.
How far are you from the Hoosier Forest?
Where's that at?
You're a ways from that.
Just by my question, yeah.
I think that's also southwest Indiana.
See, I'm 20 minutes from the state line of Michigan.
Yeah. Yep.
So you go straight
That's a heck
up.
of a drive.
Yeah.
I was wanting to do an investigation camp out there, Hoosier Forest. It's another good one.
Let me know plenty of time ahead and we can come. I know
That'd be great.
when you guys have your outings, Caden would like to join if it's okay and come, because he is more into the Sasquatch and Dogman because of what he's seen and heard. He doesn't really like to play with ghosts.
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah, it can be annoying.
We're going to be doing a boot camp this year, an investigators boot camp, sometime in July or August, and we'll put all the information out about that. It's going to be a 3-day event. It's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to go over, how to conduct an investigation, how to talk to witnesses. We're going to have people come in and, talk, say, we saw this, and, we'll show you, how to, conduct the interview the witness, without leading them on and things like that. We're going to do a thing about animal tracks, animal scat, things that, people can look at when they're in the field. We're going to talk about, how to make a cast. We're going to do a thing on thermal imaging. We're going to do a thing on night vision. We're going to, hold classes. We're going to have, people come in and talk about their experiences. It's going to be a pretty decent class. We're going to go over the journal, our field, not journal, but our field investigator book. Go over some of the stuff on there. What to look for when you're in a field, how to collect evidence. We're going to talk about like having bio kits with you and things like that. It's going to be a really neat course. we're thinking, it's going to be right around $25 a person. And the area that we're in, it's 65 acres of woods. There's a pavilion there for to do the classroom during the day. We're going to set up a bunch of canopies around to do, have a classroom in that for that area. It's got a nice area to go camping in. There's a lot of woods where we can go do our investigations and, training and things. And it's going to be a neat event. The area is really, really beautiful. It's, it's really, really nice area.
And at night we'll do some investigating, do some training, set up trail cams, and test everything that we've learned during the day.
Now, is the area active that'll be at?
No, there's nothing in that area. I mean, there's coyotes up there. There's all kind of critters up there, in this area. It's, how can I say this? It's not a residential area, but it's in a community area. It's family property, it's it's a good area to do the training in. There's no one else around, so that's the good part. So we're not going to be running into other people up there. We're not going to, it's our own area to be doing what we need to do. And it's a really good training area. And what we want to do is keep this for our training area and, hold, classes in the future. It's going to be neat. It's really, really nice, beautiful area. It's got a nice small little lake there. It does have a lot of wildlife in the area, but nothing as far as anything has been seen there. They've been, Bigfoot sightings in the surrounding areas, but nothing up there, that we don't know of. Just put it that way. So, but like I said, it's going to be neat. It's going to be a neat course.
Just let me know plenty of time ahead, so I can ask for it off.
Yeah, like I said, we're going to, Dave and I and the rest of the guys, we're all going to get together sometime next week. We're going to talk about it. Set up the date. Start. We can hold about 30 people in this one course, and there's enough area there for everyone to camp. There's enough area there for everybody to, to train. That's why we said we're going to set up 2 locations to train. While one class is going on with one group of people, there's going to be another class going on with a different group of people, and then we'll switch. Yeah, it's not going to be, a constant, you got 15 minutes to rest and then we move on. It's not that. We're going to take our time doing this, and things. It's gonna be a good time. It's going to be really good educational. There's a wolf reserve in the area, and we're going to talk to them about bringing one of their wolves up to the training to talk to us about the behavior of a wolf, different things about the wolves and stuff. So that's going to be interesting.
Is it? I know you had posted pictures of wolves. Is that the area that you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, it's their sanctuary and stuff. So, well, like I said, we'll bring them. We're talking with them right now, just to see about having it done, and things. That time's going to be. It's going to be somewhat crucial because it's a lot of people come into the sanctuaries at that time, but we're working with us on getting one out there for the event for about an hour, so people can see them.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
My years ago, my friend's dad had a wolf as a pet.
Mm-hmm.
You know how people have them like you'd have a dog? Yeah, he had one, and it was so gentle. But yet it was still a wild animal, so it could turn at any time.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you guys want to talk about your projects and your videos and all the good stuff going on at the NADP right now?
Oh, yeah. We just got done, with our DVD, the Beasts of Land Between the Lakes, and I tell you what, man, it's a good DVD. A lot of work I put into it, but I'm telling you, we have had so many issues with that DVD. We've had, as of probably today and stuff, we've had probably 27 that never made it to their location that we mailed off and got lost in the mail.
So when you say lost, you mean lost?
Yeah. Yeah. Lost. I mean, I can't say it got lost. All I can say is that, they never made it to the location that they were supposed to go to. Tracking shows like they would get to their one particular area, and from there on, tracking ended, and stuff. And no one can find where they are. And I can understand, 1, 2 getting lost in the mail, but when you have 27 that just never showed up, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, I think Dave, we have between you and me, we probably got about 6 DVDs left.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I mean, half of them are gone. We had to refund money back to people, and stuff over this. And it's crazy. I mean, I sent, like the one going to the UK, to this guy in the UK, the custom label is taped on, right? And the custom label was completely ripped off the package, so where it wouldn't go into the country. And it's like, that's ridiculous. So I went ahead and sent it again, with the custom label on it, and it's got a piece of tape going over the top of it, and again the label got ripped off. I mean, it's just a lot of coincidence.
And how long have you had your PayPal account, Joedy?
Oh my God,
years, right?
Since years, yeah, probably 5 years.
And all of a sudden, it gets hacked.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, PayPal's not supposed to get hacked. It's supposed to be one of the most secured ones out there, and they thrive on that. That's what it is. But it's just a lot of just a lot of weird stuff over over that DVD.
So your PayPal account was hacked?
Yeah.
Now you're making me nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the videos never made the destination. The PayPal account's hacked. It's really tough to do anything unless you're in person. That's the only way.
Yeah, and the thing is, when we did the Wisconsin Werewolf, everything, it was smooth, man. Every DVD got to where it was going, everything. But like I said, the Beasts of the Land Between the Lakes, that was, even when we were there, right? There were the keeper of the area in the area that we stayed in said that, because we went and asked him about a certain story, and what we did, we went and we told him, we said, look, we're filmmakers, and we're here to debunk this legend of this monster. We're here to debunk it. We don't believe it. We're skeptics. And this is what we do. We go around the country and we debunk this stuff. And the guy's like, oh wow, that was like really cool. Because y'all should have been here back in May when this North American Dogman project had their event here, and the deputies told me if anybody comes for that event, you tell them it was canceled and you send them right back home. You don't let anybody come in for this event. And that's exactly what happened, because we had 3 guys that were there on an advanced scouting, and the Rangers came down and told them, don't wear anything with logos on it. Don't have anything on your vehicle about it. These are the areas you're allowed in, and these are the areas you're not allowed in. And all the areas that they weren't allowed in were all the hot spots where things were taking place. And I mean, they really gave a hard time to these guys, our 3 guys that were there.
Now, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
You guys telling me.
Yeah. It's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, so maybe one day your phone will ring while it's off again. So
yeah. Well, once we get the LBL video up on Amazon and they can stream it, then that's what we're gonna do. I mean, those stories have to get out. If people don't, everybody's kind of heard the rumor, the legend, the lore, the people around there for sure. But when they can actually see some visual representation of what may have happened, well, we know the family. We know that's that's based on the witnesses, those 2 police officers. But the other one, we got firsthand eyewitness interview. So that's that's as good as it gets right there. I mean, man's on his deathbed. The last thing he wants people to know him by was his encounter with the Dogman. Mm-hmm. Luckily, he was in a boat when he saw it, or he may not have been able to tell us about that.
Now, he witnessed when the family was killed?
No, he witnessed a couple of campers get slaughtered.
Yeah.
Did somebody go there and get in trouble? They were walking around where the camp was. I watched a video, and I don't remember who it was. And I thought it was down there. I'm sorry?
Did somebody chase him out of there? The Rangers?
Yep. Something? Yeah. And he got in trouble for it? Was it down there? I watched the video on YouTube, and I don't remember his name. I thought he had been on Vic's show or Bigfoot Outlaws or somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he was chased out of there. They tried to press charges or something on him.
Wasn't Kumbo or one of those guys, was it?
No, it wasn't one of them.
No. It was one of the guests they had on their show.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was the Bigfoot Outlaws.
They were on one of those shows. But I think it exists.
Well, what I did, I talk about Alex being a little bit crazy. So last year, what was it? Last year in November, well, actually not 2017 November, but 2016 November. Weather's kind of nice. It's not quite, too cold to camp yet. So I asked my girlfriend, and I said, hey, let's, there's nobody camping out at LBL. Let's go down there and let's camp. And I was talking to Joedy. I said, what do you think the best campsite would be? He said, somewhere in the north, on the northeast side. So we took Cravens Bay, and we went all the way out to Cravens Bay, all the way out to the point where there's looks like a little peninsula out there. And just north of that is nothing. Cravens Bay is the last of the campsites that actually has a restroom, and the actual sites. The other stuff is all backpacking sites. And that LBL's 40 miles long and 10 miles wide in some parts. And we were way out there. We're a good 5 miles off Trace Road. And so we set up. I put up my trail cams, my food traps, the whole thing. And it got dark about 7:30. We ran out of firewood pretty quick. And I was like, man, this is just, you know, if nothing happens, at least we went camping, and this is beautiful. You know, the moon over the water. I mean, it was just amazing. And so we're like, well, heck, let's just crash. So we set up our tent, lay down in the tent. I put all my gear next to me in case something happens. And 12:30 a.m. comes by, and there is a knock on a tree. Imagine if you took a nice, good, solid piece of wood with no bark on it and whacked a tree. It's exactly what I heard, and it must have been about 30 to 40 yards away. We both wake up, and I'm like, I was like, Jamie, did you just hear that? She goes, yeah. I said, was that a tree knock? And she said, it sounded like it. I said, well, okay, let's think logically here. Okay, we're the only ones camping in the whole park. There's nobody else here. There are no rangers driving around. There's nobody. There was nothing. We didn't see any people. And I was like, so maybe, you know, somebody in a boat fishing, yeah, this late? No, I don't think so. Trying to rationalize what it was, and as we're talking, we hear it again. And I was like, okay, that is a clear tree knock. I said, we might be, you know, camping out here where Squatches run through here and they dumpster dive, because there was a dumpster there. And I was thinking, so we may be in their you know, normal path for food. And I said, they might be smelling the trap. So I said, let's just stay here and let them, you know, if they want to deal with the food in this trap, go for it. I got the trail cams up. We don't have to do anything. And we definitely don't want to make them mad. And right after that second tree knock, I hear walking in the water, because we were right on the edge of the water there. And you could hear it. I was like, okay. It had really started, I was like, starting to, when that fear sets in, you're like going, okay, that could be a person. That is bipedal movement. You could hear the splash walking in the water. I was like, man, they're either messing with us. I mean, why would somebody come out here just to mess with us? That makes no sense. But what if it is a Squatch and he's just walking his normal path, and he happens to hit the tree just to let us know he's there? You know, don't mess with me. So that's what we had to deal with that a little bit. So we got up and we got into the SUV, and she jumped in back and slept while I sat there the rest of the night looking out the windows, had cameras, everything ready to go. Just kept watching. And there was enough moonlight to where, you know, I didn't have to have any lights on or anything, but that was super. I was like, man, what are the chances of us just randomly coming up here in November, you know, going, hey, you know, if we hear something great, if we don't, that's cool too. But we did. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that might have been a cryptid, because I don't, you know, there's no other animal that's going to do that. And then those were two of the best tree knocks I've ever heard, so clear, echoed through the over the lake, you know, through the.
Yeah, you cool. know, C.J. Johnson DVD. That was probably one of his last things he did before he passed away.
Yeah,
and C.J. Johnson did a lot of research down the LBL, not so much on the Dogman stuff, but on the Bigfoot. There's a Bigfoot down there, and he's a pretty aggressive big guy, and they call him the old man. And JC said, I mean, you know, found tracks. I mean, this thing, you know, how LBL is set up, it's like majority of all the Bigfoot sightings are like in the south, I think, right? I think 22 is what runs through LBL. So like south of 22 is where all the majority of all the Bigfoot stuff is. And north of, yeah, well, Trace Road goes all the way down, but I think 22.
Oh, goes across. Yeah,
yeah, it goes across, and it divides LBL.
and all the Dogman stuff's up north, and except for this one particular Bigfoot that's up in the northern part of the area, I guess he doesn't fare anything. So we know that there's Bigfoot up there in the northern part, but there's here's the thing. My biggest thing is that LBL. I mean, if they were smart, they would profit off of this. They would profit off of it. It's like Salt Fork State Park. They kept the Bigfoot stuff quiet. And then when we did the Monster Quest show up there, then we started having the Bigfoot conferences, that were being held up there. And, that Bigfoot conference puts that park in the black every year. Literally, it brings in so much revenue, for that park. And it's LBL, huge. Yeah. And LBL could do the same thing. I mean, they could get T-shirts made and sell them, and people would buy just the novelty of it, of the T-shirt or a stuffed werewolf and things like that. And I mean, and tell the ghost stories and and stuff. And then once they did that, the whole thing of people coming down there and doing research and all that, it will die off, because the more people that comes down, it's like Salt Fork. I don't think there's anything in Salt Fork anymore because there are so many people coming down there. The thing probably moved out because the majority of all the sightings were happening outside of the park. Because there's so many people running around that park, and stuff up there. It probably got tired and left. And it's the same thing with the beast of Land Between the Lakes. Either he's going to think it's a smorgasbord, or he's not going to put up with it and he's going to move out. But the thing of it is that the park. I mean, make money off of it. Make money off of it, and then educate the people about it. And see, that's what Salt Fork does. Now, what Salt Fork does, which I think is a mistake, is that they own a Bigfoot costume. And every once in a while, they'll get an employee to put that Bigfoot costume on and run around the park. I don't know if it's to draw up, more revenues or more sightings into the area, but Salt Fork does it. But yeah, Land Between the Lakes, they need to get up, and get off this secrecy stuff, because we're literally on their crap list. Because that guy that we talked to down here told us they monitor our site, they monitor our Facebook page, they monitor our private, our regular Facebook pages. So they're keeping the track of us. They're helping to keep track.
We should ask him if they'll put our LBL DVD in the Rangers there, those welcome centers.
Oh, and that would be cool. That would they would be like, what?
That would be funny.
Well, the thing of it is, it's like, the LBL's stuff going on down there, but there's a story going on about a hunter that was allegedly killed. Okay, back in 2005. Okay, by the creature, and Dave and I basically debunked that whole theory. There was a hunter that died in natural causes down there. Okay, he died in a what's the name of that area?
Racetrack Hollow.
Yeah, Racetrack Hollow is where they found his body, and his body was eaten on by scavengers. Okay, and he was there for a couple of days. So the big story is that the Dogman killed him, and his tent, his campsite was all tore up, and and that's bull. Okay, I talked to a member of his family, and they said that never happened. They said that basically what they're saying is what happened. They believe that he was killed in a hunting accident, and the park is covering it up. That it was a hunting accident, and And basically they're letting them run with this stupid story about him getting killed by the Dogman down there. And the fact that, you know, they're saying they don't believe, you know, the Dogman did it. They don't even believe there's a Dogman, you know, in that park. They strictly believe he was killed in a hunting accident. You know, that they're saying, you know, his equipment, his tent and all that stuff was not torn apart. There was issues with the autopsy. There was issues with the coroner that did the autopsy, with the family. You know, they didn't like the idea that, you know, the death was of, you know, natural causes, and his body marks were, you know, because of scavengers, and they don't believe that. They believe he was killed in a hunting accident, you know, and that's the story, you know. But there's two researchers that are really pushing this story that he was killed by the Dogman, because they're saying, you know, there's a press release that was put out. We got a copy of the press release. Yeah, you know, there was a press release that was put out, but there's nothing in the press release that says that this guy was killed by a Dogman. You know, and the press release is that, you know, he died of natural causes. And, you know, they're saying now, you know, we got people that work down there that's, you know, took me out to the location and said this is where his tent was all tore apart and his body was dragged off, you know, 1.5 miles. Well, if you look at the area where his body was found compared to where his campsite was, you know, the terrain is just so brutal. Okay, if you do a Google image of the whole area, you know, it would basically be impossible for a predator to carry a body through all this heavy foliage and you know, and terrain to get to where he left the body. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And the length of the area was not even, it wasn't even 1 mile, you know. And like I said, there's just a lot of things that you can look at and say, well, no, that's just not right. You know, but the thing about it is they're writing a book about it. They're co-authoring a book, you know, about the piece of land between the lakes. And they're talking about that in there. So they're pushing the narrative. But like I said, you know, Dave and I, in our investigation, we found no evidence whatsoever that a hunter was killed by a Dogman. There's plenty of evidence showing that a hunter died of natural causes down there. You know, but like I said, his family seems to believe it was a hunting accident, and they're not buying the natural cause. So that's why there's a dispute with the coroner. There's a dispute with the autopsy, you know, and so forth. So, like I said, I think it's just, I don't want to say it's a made up story. I just think what it is that someone took the story and just freaking ran with it, literally ran with it, you know, and embellished it, and it went from one person to another person to another person to another person, and then, you know, it just got to this point where it's, you know, it's crazy, you know. And so we debunked it in our DVD, you know, which we got really good feedback on it, you know, that we gave our reason why we debunked it. And so it you know, I think we did a good job with it, you know. But, you know, we're working on an Ohio one now. We're going to be doing that, and we got a lot of good witnesses, a lot of good stuff for that one. Now that's going to be a really, really good one when we get that done. Really good one. Small Town Monsters, they're working on the Beast of Bray Road DVD, and we gave them some witnesses that we've got from, you know, that came into the NADP, and, you know, helped them out with that. So that's going to be a really good DVD, you know, the Bray Row. And I think they're, you know, those guys did a, you know, really good job with their documentaries, their Small Town Monsters. You know, they did. yeah, they've got the money, they got the funding, they got the equipment, and they do a super job. I highly suggest people, get their Small Town Monster DVDs. The Mothman, I think, is the best. Then the Flatwood Monsters, I think, comes out after that. But the Bray Road is going to be the best one that they're going to do by far. It's going to be one of the best documentaries. So it's, like I said, something to look forward to, something to get. If you love the monster stuff, smalltownmonsters.com is the place to go. And it's fun. I mean, if Dave and I had a budget, man, God, there's things that we could do. We're going to start a Kickstarter page to get some funding for this Ohio one. So, yeah. So we get people to help us on that.
Share that to me, and I'll make sure it goes on my website and Facebook page as well.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because I do have on my Facebook page a page specifically for the NADP.
Okay.
Not on Facebook, but on the website.
Right.
So, okay. You're probably going to kick my ass for this, but what's the Flatwoods Monster?
The Flatwood Monsters, this happened back in the late 1950s. A group of kids were out in the woods, and they seen this like mechanical type creature in the woods of West Virginia. It's UFO related. They've had a lot of UFO sightings in that particular area, and it's really, I mean, it's an odd shaped creature. It was kind of like reptilian, more or less, on top, and it floated, and partly metal. If you Google Flatwood Monster, you'll come up with a bunch of pictures of what it looks like. But this was like the height of, the atomic age, the beginning of the Cold War, a lot of science fiction movies, a lot of UFO stuff going on. And like I said, prior to the actual sighting of the Flatwoods Monster, there was UFO activity in that area. So it's what's so funny about it? It's the only monster that mountain monsters will not investigate because they think it's fake. Can you believe that? They'll have all these other fake monsters on their website or on their show, and they won't do the Flatwood Monster because they think it's fake. I mean, what's that tell you?
I just Googled that, and that thing looks crazy.
Uh-huh.
That is very odd.
Yeah.
It's not like a leaf-shaped head. That's what it reminds me of, is a leaf.
Right.
That thing's crazy looking.
And we met two of the guys from Wild Bill.
Yeah.
Remember, we met him at Scare Fest. He came up and checked out our Dogman.
Yeah.
Actually, they're down to earth, nice guys.
They are.
Very, very rural type of folks. So
yeah, they're good guys. Yeah.
Yeah. My co-host for the fair, Liz, she actually messaged them, and she was so excited that they answered her this like within half an hour, and she invited them to come to our paranormal fair because they're going to be at Mid-South that weekend. And she's like, well, it's only 4 hours away. Maybe they could just come by.
Yeah.
She was so excited that they answered her.
I can't believe they made it to Mid-South. I can't believe Mid-South is even having them there. And this is the thing. What I thought was, I was at Mothman. I spoke at Mothman Festival one year that they were there, and I made a comment on my speech that how ironic it is that people would stand in line for 6 hours,
getting sunburned,
getting sunburned, and it rained a little bit, and go and talk to guys who chase fake monsters and does a fake monster show. But when you have the legitimate researchers there that do it, they'll spend 2 minutes talking to you, look at your stuff, and move on. You know, it's funny. It really is. You know,
best part about that trip was that we got to talk to a firsthand eyewitness of the Mothman.
Yeah.
Someone that didn't like to be involved with that at all.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah. That was good.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's legit. Love the ladies.
Wow.
They're yeah.
I'm hoping we get to speak there this year. You know, I put in for it, you know, to speak. I mean, I love that you know, if you've never been to anything, go to the Mothman Festival. My God, that is the best thing. I mean, it's well worth it.
It's fun, and it's sure is a culture shock. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been thinking about going to it one year. Just I don't know if I'm going to have a table, but I was told by several people to go, and you guys have recommended to go.
It's neat. I highly recommend going. Truly recommend.
And you know what? If you do what we did, me and my girlfriend,
I'm not your girlfriend, Dave.
It's only a couple hours away, but we went over there and stayed in the room that Joedy recommended because the hotel there is pretty haunted. So we stayed there. But not only that, you know, I went around and did a bunch of audio trying to validate that the Mothman was real and it was connected to the bridge, which it's not. And that's what I was kind of focused on. But after we left there, we went right to Moundsville.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I've investigated there.
Have you?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about Point Pleasant is there's like when you get in there, there's like a really weird feeling. You know, I mean, it's just the atmosphere is odd. You know, I mean, really, it's odd.
And what's really great about it is if you do go there, we went up to the bunkers, and there was a police officer there. So rather than just willy-nilly walking around the bunkers where you're not supposed to be, we stopped and I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, you can go up there and check out a couple of them."
What are the bunkers? Cool. Like what?
The TNT bunkers. That's where they've seen. That's where I think the very first sighting was of the Mothman was in that area.
That's right.
But yeah, they used to store TNT there. I mean, it's crazy. The bunkers were cool. They're most of them were empty, but it was interesting audio. Wasn't a whole lot, but the stuff I did get, it was interesting.
They had one blow up a year or two ago. They didn't even know it was there, and it still had ammunition in it, and the thing blew.
Yeah, some of them are completely overgrown.
Yeah.
You have to walk through these vines and all those twisted foliage to try to get to them.
Yeah.
And the doors are all open. And
that's crazy.
But,
yeah, so that's worth seeing while you're there too. And it's not far outside of town at all.
Well, when I was younger, I used to go to my mom's sister lived down close to the West Virginia state line, south of Beckley. And in the summer and Christmases, we would drive down there, and I would always see the sign before we got on the highway, Point Pleasant straight ahead. And at the time, I didn't know anything about it, but I was like, wonder what's there. And then, well, down where she lives at, there's Lake Shawnee Park. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
It's a haunted amusement park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's down in Princeton, and that's where she lives at. And I'm really disappointed. My cousin used to try to scare me all the time. I'm really disappointed he didn't take me. I was like, God, all the places he could take me and scare me. Why didn't you take me there?
Right.
But yeah, I know right where Point Pleasant's at. So speaking of West Virginia, I'm looking at your website, And I see there's a possible Dogman track on there.
On whose site?
Yours? The website?
There is.
Oh, okay.
I see there's from West Virginia. Do you know anything about that one? The backstory or anything? Or did it just say, hey, I found this?
You got information on that one, don't you?
Yeah, I'm checking it out. We have so many coming in, you would not believe it. And what we try to do when we get those in, if they're recent, which a lot of them have been, I immediately email our team in whatever state, get on with the state rep and say, hey, put some boots on the ground. And they have been. I mean, we have at least 5 going on right now.
And this is just new stuff.
And this is like stuff that's, I mean, live as we're talking right now. We have investigators on the ground. So it's a lot to handle. It's pretty crazy. But like if you look on the website also, you see the Horicon Marsh one. They've had 5 sightings recently in that marsh.
Where is it?
Wisconsin.
I'm going to look.
Hurricane Marsh.
And there's a video of that, and the gentleman's on there, and he's telling you about it. And it's he's seen it multiple times. So good thing that video, that whole interview was done by our state rep for Wisconsin, Donna Fink. She's amazing. She's already on it. She's out there. So she's contacted team members, and they're on the ground. So we're just waiting for a phone call or an email. Have 100% confirmation that it's legit, and hopefully people, you never know how you're gonna act when you come in contact with something that is not supposed to be. It's not scientifically discovered. It's something you just hope you're in your, you focus and you go, okay, first of all, I just gotta be still and try to, I gotta snap a photo. I gotta, something. So we're hoping that we get some of that. In the meantime, here I'm looking for the West Virginia.
So did you guys see me jump?
What's that?
Did you see me jump?
No.
Oh God. Xander's dad walked up behind me, and I don't know what noise he made, but it sounded like, you're on my camera. He growled right beside of me, and I had these earbuds in, and I was looking at the website, and I jumped. He scared me to death. But I was looking at the pictures that you have.
And by the way, I'm sorry that one was from just December. What I did do is I responded to them and said, hey, where are all the other tracks? Try to get as many photos of different tracks. So they took one of the best ones and gave it to us and said, okay, what do you think this is what they were saying. Now, this is just by somebody's house in a fairly rural community.
I'm looking at the photos taken on 12/2, Jedediah Smith, Redwood State Park in California.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what he was looking at with me when I jumped.
That is Mark. There's a guy named Mark who happened to be hiking through there, and he heard some people, and he said they sounded a little frantic, and they started yelling. So he headed back towards them because he said, you usually don't hear people off the beaten path, off the main trails. And he said they were off the main trails. So he went back to see if he could render some assistance because he said they sounded frantic and they were screaming. And he said when he started headed back towards them, he saw that headed towards them. So when you see that picture, it was moving away from him towards them. It didn't know he was there. So he quickly grabbed his camera, snapped a couple, and then he hauled ass. He said they were screaming, dude. He said, I took off. I mean, he was emailing me. He's like, man, did we get anybody on the ground? You got any people? I said, yeah, dude. And we sent some people out there. They've been out there. Not only that, we do have a recent member, Dev Root. I think it's Dev Rukni or Rujni. She is a California director of MUFON, like Northern California. She joined the NADP, and she's looking into this now.
Well, actually,
she's going to be getting the original photos.
Well, actually, Dave, I talked to her the other day. Forgot to mention this to you. She talked to him, interviewed him, got the original photograph from him. She was able to tell what type of phone he had that took the picture, everything. And she did the molecular testing on it, on the picture. And whatever that thing was there was 100% in the picture. It was not altered or anything. So, yeah, whatever that thing was definitely standing there. So she's going to be sending us the report on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be fascinating.
And you know, talking to Mark, you can tell somebody's seen something. I mean, this guy has no business talking to me at all. But since he had seen this, he had nobody else to talk to. Nobody's going to believe him.
Yeah.
And it's just, man, this is what we're dealing with, like all the time. It's I'm scared for a lot of people out there. I'm scared for a lot of people.
I agree, especially out in the woods where nobody else is around. You hear about people out there in acres and acres of land, and they encounter these things, and their closest neighbors 5 miles away.
Yeah.
And they break into houses. They can turn doorknobs.
Yep.
Try to come in the doggy doors.
We got one report out of LBL, or right outside of LBL, where a thing was trying to come through a dog port and the doors. And this guy's trying to shoot it off. You know, and then there's one report down in Kentucky where this thing actually was able to open the door and come into the house. This woman sitting in the living room with her kids, and this thing standing there and watching them. And she told it to leave, and all this. It left. But I mean, it was at a situation where this thing could kill her and her family, but it was able to open the door and come in.
And that's another reason I keep my doors locked.
But it's so weird also, because I've heard some other encounters where they say that these things are so big and powerful. Why would it even bother going through the door? It could literally run through a wall in the house. The guys in Texas that had that encounter when they were in their trailer, and the trailer had hurricane straps on it. So, it wasn't. It was like there was more than one, and they were pushing on the trailer, but the hurricane straps was what saved them. Otherwise, they would have rolled the trailer for sure to try to get those guys out. Yeah, he says we were in we had a shotgun, and we were in the back bedroom, and he said, I don't know why I just didn't punch through the wall and grab us and pull us out. I really don't. He said he went out on the front porch with his or out on the little steps that go inside the trailer there. And he said that he went out there with a shotgun. He saw him. He said, nah, that's going to make him mad. Just ran back inside, locked the door, and hid in the back room by the closet. So they were pushing on it and stuff. He thought sure they were going to roll it and just drag him out and eat him.
Now, do you think they do these things to scare people? They enjoy scaring people? Or do you think there's a reason they actually want them out of there?
I think they want them out because they don't want nothing in their territory.
Yeah.
I think that's what the biggest thing is. They're very territorial, and they can intimidate people to get them out of the area.
It's not necessarily to get them out so they can eat them as dinner, but
which is really interesting. I don't know. There's definitely some really crazy intelligence behind it.
There is.
I mean, they're just ultra cunning.
And you hear, and I've said this before, you hear that they're part alien. You hear they have alien handlers and all that. I'm not sure I believe all that. And I said it on another show when we were talking. It might have been with Chris that I was talking to. So what do you guys think about that? Just kind of a side note.
What's that?
The alien. Well, you remember the what is it called? The Pomeria? Is it the Pomeria one? Where the family? It was on one of the shows, but it's actually an actual case where the guy saw 5 of them come across the field. Remember? And he had the fences, and he was on the porch with his wife.
Yeah, the wolf pack.
Yeah.
The wolf pack.
And they had those orbs.
Well, what they said is before they even saw any of that, there was a bright light that came from the woods, and both father and son went out there into that area to see what that light was from. There's no source of the light. They couldn't find out what it was, and then that's when they saw them come.
Now,
so
I heard,
think, or I don't know if they created it to make them think that they might be alien, but I just thought that was interesting.
I had heard that, and this is just what I've heard, that really didn't happen. They just put that in the show. I don't know if that's true or not. So
I heard the case was real, but see, I didn't know how much they enhanced or embellished the show.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
To keep people from being a little bit too scared. Oh, they're just
the story
alien things,
The story's real, okay?
Yeah.
It's just the network embellished a lot of stuff. There's things that they put in there that did not happen, like where they ran into the bedroom, they all had knives and stuff.
Right.
They were all scared. That never happened.
Like I said, I'd heard the orbs didn't happen either, but I did hear that it really did come through the window.
The light, that was legit, but the orbs and stuff like that they didn't see.
So I did. Now that did come through the window, right? Did it really come through the window, or
no?
No, that was just a dream.
It was the Martin family in Palmyra, Maine. Yeah. I do have the story. It's actually on our map. If you go to the encounters page where we have all the, I've been adding a bunch of new ones to this as well. And it does have a story, but I'm trying to think of where.
Yeah. But yeah, there's, like you said, there was just a lot of stuff that was part of that story that just was just made up, and that's what they do.
Yep.
That's why if I ever did a show, I mean, they're going to be ground rule set because we're not going to do stupid shit. If they have an issue with that, they can go find somebody else.
That's what you told them.
Well,
Destination America.
That's when Destination America.
Yeah.
Wanted us to do a show on the Dogman stuff, but they wanted us to do it like Mountain Monster stuff, and we said no, we're not going to do it. If that's how you want it, we're not going to do it. And I told them, you guys are looking at the wrong people because we're not going to be doing Bo Duke slides over the car and running in the woods with shotguns and all that other stuff. He said, what I want is I want something that people are going to be scared to death after they watch it, not laughing.
Right.
And honestly, the truth is scary enough about these things.
Well, and you know what Destination America said? Legitimacy doesn't sell.
And they're right.
And it's true. It's absolutely 100% true.
Well, look, and I talked about this with my friends that come on that ghost hunt and other, that don't do the cryptid research. look how the ghost hunting shows started, like with TAPS. They would go into personal homes and investigate, and all of a sudden, years later, the West Virginia penitentiary incident where they faked the evidence, where the ghost was supposed to have pulled on his jacket and it didn't.
Yeah.
Yep. And then all of a sudden now it's turned more to the negative stuff just to keep ratings up.
What did Ghost Brothers tell us? That the real good scary stuff networks will not put on.
They're hilarious.
I talked to them, and they're the first team. I mean, I've already been through TAPS, Ghost Adventures, and all these guys, and these were the first legit guy. When I talked to them, it was like talking to old friends. I mean, I was talking to them, and I said, "Man, you guys must have seen some pretty crazy stuff that never made it to the." And they were like grabbing me, going, "Oh, dude, you don't even know. You don't even know what's on the editing floor would freak everybody out." He said, "We caught some amazing stuff, but he goes, we're so mad, man, they won't put it in the show." And I was like, "Thank you so much for telling me that, because, you know, I kind of figured that might be the case in some of these, you know, maybe that's why some of these shows, some of the guys are pissed off, like maybe the Kling brothers. That's probably why they quit as well, because the networks wouldn't put on what they actually captured. Because I felt like those guys were pretty legit as well, and they really seemed frustrated. And I think that's what happened. Their real evidence was, you know.
That's why the Kling Brothers left, was because of that bullshit.
Yep. Yeah.
That was their biggest reason why they left.
Sorry, my microphone wouldn't unmute. If people really saw what we did, they'd be bored to death, because it's not all excitement, and you don't get all this evidence, and you don't get things thrown at you, and you don't get all the answers. They would go to sleep like we do occasionally.
And another thing is, there's, even though a lot of what, you know, there's not much going on, but when you're a researcher and you have to do the history and you have to do the interviews and you have to set up cameras, and if you have to review all the audio, there's so much work that goes into it people don't even know. It's an incredible amount of work. That's why I backed out of it. I mean, I was just like, okay, I'm going to do audio now and then. But even then, I mean, I've got like 4 or 5 places that I still have to review for. I've got all the audio and video, everything's there, but I don't have the time to do it, because it takes a lot of time to go through it.
It does.
I've spent so much time. But at least with the cryptid stuff, it's like, I mean, we never know when we're going to get a call or an email or something, and somebody says, "Man, something ran across my backyard, and it, you know, it was 5 foot high, and it was on all fours, big as a car, and it just ran through my yard." I don't know. I found you guys on the internet, and you get those calls.
Yeah, I know you guys have passed a few along to me, and I tried to research it. I still can't find an article about those guys in Huntington.
Yeah.
I called the newspaper. There's nothing there. Nobody seems to know about it.
Those are the guys that said they shot and killed them, right?
Yeah.
Which is that Huntington case?
The hunters from Greensburg?
Yeah.
The one up north went hunting, and they shot those. They thought they were horses. If you see an animal in a field and you think it's a horse, it's giant. I mean, horses are big. And they thought they saw several of them, and anyway, came running at them. They just shot at them until they dropped them.
That's crazy.
And then they said, but very shortly afterwards, here comes the unmarked cars, and the people, the Department of Natural Resources people come out there, and they're all hush hush, and nobody talks, and you never saw this happen. That's got to ruin your life right there. That's got to be a real hard stopper.
I'm serious. I'm waiting for them to show up at our door or something. Seriously.
Yeah.
You know.
To what your door?
Knock at the door.
Oh.
Show up at the back door.
Something. You know.
And they'll be like, "This is where Joedy used to live.
I mean,
sorry.
Here's the thing. We have the same goal in mind. We don't want widespread panic.
Right.
We don't want people out there shooting up the woods. We don't want people to stop camping and going out and fishing and all that shit. We want the same thing. We have the same goal. It's like, dude, if we could work together, we're not like gonna throw this up on YouTube and call the news. If we could just work together, we'll tell you what we know. You know, they've got these little ops teams out there that handle it, and supposedly all these police departments that have these special numbers in case something happens. They give that number a call and somebody comes out and fixes the problem, and the police just kind of erase it with the locals to keep them quiet.
Now I've heard there in Indiana that there are black coyotes that are the size of wolves. Have you heard about that?
What?
Black coyotes that are the size of wolves.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're
Is it the coy dogs?
Yeah.
Is it?
We had some people come up to us while we were at Point Pleasant, and they said they weren't sure if it was a Dogman or if it was. They heard that there were a bunch of coy dogs around there, and one dude's a mailman, and he said he's seen them a bunch. He'll cross the road when he's delivering mail.
Yeah.
That they're huge.
Wow. I don't think I've seen one. So if I do, I'll let you guys know. Because I do have a funny story for Joedy, though. He always says to keep your camera on your cell phone. Keep it handy, so in case you see something, you can just flip your camera button up. I was driving home one night from a ghost hunt in Fort Wayne, and this was last winter, and I had this deer. There was 3 deers along the side, and I stopped, and I was out in the middle of nowhere, cornfields on both sides of me, and Joedy popped into my head. Take your camera out, and I looked for Dogman because they were being chased. So Joedy popped into my head and said, keep your camera handy. So I did.
Yep.
You can get that right around Christmas time. Kohl's has those dash cams for about $25.
Mine.
Oh.
I got
really, really beautiful.
the one I got at Home Depot, the QC. I love it, man.
You can get
1080p and it's on all the time. Every time, especially when we go driving at night anywhere or during the day, anytime I go off the beaten path, it's on.
eBay's got them real. You can get them on eBay really cheap.
You need it on all the time the way people drive anymore.
Yeah, pretty much what I do. And then when you go into the woods, if you're, the majority of Dogman encounters happen during the day. That's why I carry that. I carry my GoPro, because that way, if I ran into a Dogman, I would probably freak out a bit. Obviously anybody would, but the camera would at least be doing what it's supposed to do, and that's capturing this thing on video. So I try to keep armed with cameras and audio, and it's a lot of work.
So I'm still looking at the website, and the Taylor, Mississippi incident on December 10th. Can you elaborate on that? Oh, wait, that's not the one. The Shreveport, Louisiana one. Back in December, 2 law enforcement officers encountered 2 dogmen as close as 7 feet away.
Yep. They sure did. Those guys are part of a SWAT team, and they were in ghillie suits doing training. They'd had high-powered sniper-type rifles. Well, at least they had high-powered scopes. So they're out there doing their training, and they're just laying down, right? And they were just looking along a wood line, and they saw these things come out of the wood line, and they literally just they couldn't they didn't sense them, or they didn't notice those guys. They're in ghillie suits, but they're also I don't know what the scent protection they had those like charcoal suits that keep you from other animals being able to smell you. But they had the whole suit.
They got the ghillie suits that they've got can't be picked up on infrared. So if a helicopter is out looking for you using infrared or using thermal, you can't get picked up. It covers body heat, everything. So what these guys had was something pretty incredible.
I didn't even know they had anything like that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was just surprised that they came to us.
That's really interesting.
Isn't that cool? There, yeah, we've got quite a few sightings down there. Right now, that's one of our hot spots. That's one of our hot spots. And New York as well. Upstate New York is just on fire.
I know about that same time, I put you in contact with my friend Ken, and he had seen something across the road from his house. And he said they don't have wolves down there where he's at.
Well, the thing of it is, there areas that are seeing these large wolves. Majority of them are coy dogs, and what it is that it's Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, West Virginia has a very large population of these coy dogs. So what is going on is that these Canadian red wolves are coming down, and they're mating with coyotes, and they're mating with domestic dogs, and you're getting a very vicious, large-looking dog. I've got a picture of one that was killed in northern Kentucky, and this thing was 150 pounds. He was the size of my German Shepherd. Okay, and he's out in the field turkey hunting, and this thing came at him, and he shot and killed it. And I have a picture of him next to it. And like I said, this thing is, I've never seen anything this size in my life. It's huge. And people are seeing these things because their color. It's like my German Shepherd is an odd color for a German Shepherd, and he looks more like a coyote than he does a German Shepherd. Many occasions we were walking him. The police have stopped us because we thought we had a coy dog as a pet. We were stopped once by the game warden because he thought it was a wolf, because of the color. I mean, I was just walking my dog, today when I was talking to you, and this car slows down. This was right before I talked to you. This car slows down with these two young girls, and one girl's looking out because my dog is sniffing on the ground at something, and you see her, and you see her face, and she goes, "It's a wolf." And it's like, no, he's not a wolf. He's a German Shepherd. It's just he's kind of like a saddle color, which is he's all brown. And I've never seen another shepherd the same color my dog is. And he's 131 pounds. He is a big, strong boy, and he's only 3 years old. When we take him to the dog park, he dwarfs all the other German Shepherds that are there, and things. And he's a badass, man. He goes after the raccoons and everything. But yeah, and that's the thing with these coy dogs, and that's what people are seeing. I'm not saying that these large ones that they see are not, because there's two Indiana police officers
We're the only 2 police officers on this whole department that never seen the dog ban. Everyone else has. And they gave these guys all kinds of heck until they were out on patrol one night and they saw this thing sitting. The road was a 2-way road, and there was like a little area that, you know, if you had to pull off, you could pull off there, and it was big enough for five, 6 cars to park in. And they pulled up, turned around, pulled up, and came behind it, and they thought it was a bear sitting there. And they threw the lights on. It didn't move. They threw the horn on. This thing didn't move. And then finally it stood up, and they were able to see what it was. The lights were on it. You know, they saw the tail. They saw the high pointed ears. They saw the snout. And, you know, the thing went back down on 4 legs. And they said this thing was taller on 4 legs than the car was with the lights. He said it was that big, and it just walked off. It totally ignored them. You know, had no fear whatsoever of them. And, you know, they're like, well, you know, yeah, we've seen it. You know, and this was right outside of Indianapolis.
Yeah, east side, right?
Yeah, the east side of Indianapolis.
I know I put the one guy, he's no longer there at Revenant Acres, in contact with you. And they had seen one there.
Yeah.
I'm going back there this year, so I may not only hunt ghosts if it's the right time of year.
Yeah, you know, the thing of it is, I mean, you know, I'd like for people to get more involved. I mean, our organization, you know, well, we have, 311 members, I think?
Yeah.
You know, we have chapters in 22 states, Canada, the United Kingdom. You know, I mean, we're growing. We are, the North American Dogman Project is the largest dogman research.
Your mic's breaking up there, buddy.
What's that?
There you go.
I can't hear you.
Your mic was breaking up. We didn't hear you.
They're knocking on his door.
They're starting to interrupt his communication.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I had my mic off. That's why.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I said we're the largest dogman research group in the country. There's no other group out there that does what we do. You know, nothing. I mean, MUFON is extremely into the dogman phenomenon. They think that there is definitely something connected between dogman and, you know, possibly UFOs. But it's something that MUFON is, you know, they're looking into. You know, our California person, Dev, you know, she's MUFON. She's the state director out there. You know, she's very much into the dogman phenomenon, and she's doing a really good job. And she did an excellent job on that photograph, you know, making sure it's a legitimate thing. And, you know, we're going to use her for, I mean, we've got some stuff coming up that we can't get into right now. But, you know, we're going to be sending her a lot of stuff to, you know, get verification off of it, you know, make sure it's legitimate stuff, you know.
2018. This is the year.
Yeah.
This is the year we tag and bag, and we get a, you know, you kind of want. I always wondered what if nobody ever saw what like a brown bear, or grizzly bear was like, and then all of a sudden, boom, one comes out of the woods, and the scientists go out there and, okay, we got it. Here it is. Just be careful when you're in the woods. There's these things. I mean, if the dogman is just really a large, almost like a dire wolf type thing, and it's running around out there, and it stands up or whatever, and it's, it's almost like I mean, it would be the same kind of thing if we could just get it to them and say, hey, okay, these things are out there, just be careful. They're huge and they're creepy, just stay out of their area, or we're working on a containment thing, or we're working on some project to control the population, to figure out what the numbers are.
Yeah.
But you have to consider too that people compare these things to werewolves.
Yeah, and as soon as you hear the people going, "Oh my God, it looked like it came from Underworld or Van Helsing," that really terrifies people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would they react?
It could just be an animal. If you run into it and it growls at you, you probably would think it would be a werewolf. Maybe it is just an animal. It's creepy, but I know.
People have been programmed to think it's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the way they're cunning, and they seem to behave around people, it's almost as if they're like Dogman's best friend, and there's a kinship there, and dogs came from wolves. Maybe I don't know, there's some sort of they recognize a sort of kinship, but sort of that they don't purposely hunt us like a polar bear do.
Mm-hmm.
For food, that they do see us and go, there's one of them, and then they just kind of go on. It's interesting. It's like they don't realize that they're an apex, and they could just wipe us out, which is a good thing. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but I'm glad that's not the case, because then there would be a real reason to worry about these things even more. It's interesting. But this is the year I think we're going to get something really good.
Yeah, I truly believe so.
There's just too much going on. There's so much coming in, and we got people out in the field that are so excited about this, and they're all prior military and police and seasoned hunters, and they're ready to, do what they got to do. They're not out shooting up the woods, but they're out there documenting and doing interviews. So, I mean, it's gonna happen for sure. And I don't know if you knew that they're also disclosing. I hope it's this year. The Bigfoot disclosure that's being filmed in Indiana right now.
Yeah, you guys had mentioned that to me.
Yeah, I can't wait till that comes about. I don't know enough about it, but I do know it's happening.
What is it?
The whole Bigfoot disclosure project that they're working on.
Who's doing it?
It's coming out of Indiana. It's a guy that's been watching a family for over 30 years. It's southwestern Indiana. Yeah, he's been watching a whole family of them. He's seen their kids grow and stuff like that, and the whole thing. And I saw one of the pictures. See, he was going out there with his dog, and he's had several generations of dogs.
Oh, that's the one that they used to play with the dog.
Yeah, and they would go and sit on the log, and the two males would. He was very descriptive about it. He said, even though it was years and years, when you see the alpha male come up there, you don't stare him in the eyes, you don't smile and make faces, and you don't mess with him. It's serious business. There's like a ultra respect thing going on. He learned grunts and a few things like that, but the purpose was to bring the dog out so the little ones could play. And occasionally they would run into each other hunting. And he said, yeah, that thing I'd be looking at a deer, and next thing you know, he would come across and just tackle the deer and take him. And he'd look at him, and they would just kind of, that's yours. I'll get the next one. I'm going this way. He talked about it. It was pretty interesting. But he did see the parents and the kids, and then the kids grew up, and the whole cycle. And he finally started taking a few investigators out there, and they were like, oh, yeah, this is legit. This is really happening, folks. And I got to see one of the pictures, and it was one of the juveniles when he was real little. Looked just like an orangutan. It was really cool. He was holding on a tree, swinging out, but he was it was close. It was good.
You never showed me the picture.
I know.
Oh, I lost it. That's why. Right?
Or was it stolen?
And I would not have put that out at all. I mean, because the gentleman that had these encounters is the most salt of the earth, honest, just awesome person. And he didn't want any of this to be out because he was afraid that people would come and hunt the family and kill him.
It's me. You could have showed me the picture.
Which is legit. He shouldn't have done, you know.
See how he's avoiding that? Not wanting to show.
Not
wanting to show me the picture. He kept something from me.
I don't know. I didn't make a copy of it. I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was cool. It was neat to see, but it wasn't really mine to share. And I don't know. And it's coming anyway. I mean, the whole thing's coming. They're doing it right. And he, what he had to do, it took a long time. He had to take a person out at a time, and they weren't allowed to have obvious camera equipment or equipment at all. They just had to be, dressed like him, and they had to work it all into the process of sitting there and introducing them slowly, that kind of thing, because they were pretty skittish when it came to that. So they eventually just kept doing it until now they're out there and they're doing the full filming and the whole thing. So I hope it's released soon, because once we get over that hump in the disclosure of Bigfoot, go, okay, there's an ancient man or a wood ape. Let's call him a wood ape, because I think that's the best description instead of Bigfoot. Make it look like a clumsy whatever. There's wood apes. Okay, they're out in the woods and they don't bother anybody. Just leave them alone. If you get in their space, they'll probably throw rocks at you, yell at you, and do some crazy stuff. It's just like bears. Just stay away from them. But at least if they disclose that Bigfoot exists, man, it's going to be easier for us doing Dogman research, because it'll be like, oh, whoa, there are things out in the woods that are undiscovered, and now science got a hold of it. And look, there's a wood ape. We got wood apes now. So yeah, I think that's going to help out a lot.
I can't believe you didn't show me the picture.
He's so hurt by that.
I'll see if I can find it. I don't know.
I'm hurt. I am really hurt.
I don't know if I have that in an archive. I showed you. I had to.
No.
I show you everything.
I know, but you didn't show me that. I'm hurt.
I'll find it. I have to.
He's going to go get a picture of an orangutan in a tree and say, yeah, here it is.
Here it is. I got to wait till the zoo opens, okay? And I'll take it on there and take a
picture of an orangutan.
No, I just thought it was really cool, because I wasn't sure when I saw it, though. I was thinking, oh, that's just an orangutan. But no, it was like legit. I believe him. I believe the dude. He's a really cool guy. Really, really good salt of the earth people. Like most of these people that run into these Dogmen are.
Yeah, isn't Chris from what the heck's that thing he does? Chris Cyrus from New York. He's doing like a documentary, isn't he?
Yeah.
On Dogman.
Oh, doesn't he run the?
It's something X Radio or something, or X.
Yeah. Parax.
Parax or something. Yeah. I
haven't heard from him in a while. He was like really motivated.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything from him.
I think the last time he was on a show was mine.
Yeah.
Now, have you visited our Oklahoma brothers, NADP folks, the Cryptid brothers, Lance and his brother Bill? They run the Cryptid brothers.
I listen to them once in a while.
They're amazing. I mean, he's a family physician. He's got a lot to lose, but he's He's right out there in the field. He's an amazing guy. Lance is best podcast, the way he interviews people and handles people and helps them out and stuff. It's amazing. And they're in and around Tulsa, and there are Dogman sightings in Tulsa. I mean, right now, it's crazy what's happening there. And they're seems like they're becoming a little more fearless, and they're getting closer to the cities and stuff. I don't know. Maybe people are just.
Do you think it's because people are moving out further into the country?
It must be. It must be. He's had some great encounters. He's really cool about sharing information with us, because he's had encounters here in Ohio in that damn triangle between Akron, Akron, Canton. We got a triangle of sightings of Sasquatch and.
Oh, from like Norton up to Akron down to I can't remember.
Drop down to damn Columbus.
Yeah,
Columbus. It's a huge area, but it's like, I mean, you hear reports all the time. Like especially the one on where the men in black came and took over an investigation there. And those guys were talking about it. But he gave us the information on all that.
Yes,
or we had the German Shepherds that were being ripped apart.
Oh, they're in Akron. Oh, geez, yeah.
And that one's also on our site too. If you scroll down a little bit,
I was going to ask about that one.
Yeah, those were some of the wounds.
Yeah, I know. Caden was quite interested in that one, and he was wondering whatever happened to that.
Well, he moved from.
He moved.
Yeah, he moved.
That's what I thought you said. He had moved.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as I know, he has. The last time I talked to him, he hasn't had any activity in the new area that he's in. So which is good, because he lost 8 dogs. From there, and it's just. I mean, it's just odd what this thing was doing to the dogs. It's just absolutely odd. I mean, we had he had, give us x-rays and things like that. And, the vet couldn't identify the marks that were put on the dogs. They just could not identify it.
Now, rather than eat them, it just seemed to want to destroy them.
Yeah, it was killing them.
Definitely territorial move there. So I think those, if there were dogmen around there, whatever that was fighting over some hunting space, thinking those dogs were in it.
Now, as I look at the pictures on the website, are those claw marks or teeth marks on the picture in the left? Not the one with the ears, but you see its ear.
Oh,
it looks like a bite mark.
Yeah, they were bitten, for sure.
That's what I was wondering.
And some of them were taken into the woods and just ripped apart.
Oh wow, that's scary that it has enough power to just tear something apart and shred it.
Yeah.
Well, it's 10:30, guys.
Yeah, I got to get to bed.
I do too. I got to work tomorrow, and the little guy's already asleep, and the big guy's getting ready for bed here. So, you guys can come back on anytime you want. We still have a lot more we can talk about, and you got a lot of stuff going on. So, anytime you want to come on, you can.
Yeah, well, there's some stuff that's going on right now. We can't really get into.
Right.
That we'll be passing on the information shortly, and things. It's going to change a lot out there, and things. It's going to be well worth the information. There's a lot of it. Believe me, there's a lot of it. and there's a lot that's got to get gone through, and so it's something to be looking forward to for the future. Within a month, we should have something out about it. But it's gonna be, trust me, it's gonna be well worth it. Definitely be well worth it.
Well, I look forward to seeing it. Well, if your door hasn't been kicked in when it's released, so
yeah,
right.
I'm
probably tagged now because I had you guys on here.
It's like, I look at every car that's parked out in front of my house. There's a street that kind of like looks over towards my house and stuff, and I see cars sitting there all the time that don't belong to anybody. It's tough. So yeah, I get freaking paranoid, man. It's like today, right? I'm out in the front yard with my dog, and there's an indentation in the ground which is squared, and it has around indentation in it where it goes down, where it's like somebody set something in my yard. It's really odd. It's like a bipod was sitting in my yard facing my house, and it's perfect, and it's just like, man. And I showed my wife, I said, did you do this? My wife's like, no, and it's weird, man. And it's like, it's facing right towards my front window, like somebody set something up there, to hear something in, or I don't know, man. It's just, I get paranoid about it because, there's a lot of weird shit, man. Since we did that DVD, I don't know if Dave's done, has experienced anything, but I have experienced a lot of weird stuff since that documentary came out. I don't know.
Just the fact that it just doesn't seem to be reaching its destinations.
Yeah,
that in itself is creepy. But once we get it on Amazon and people can stream it, I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, I'm sorry, sirs, our stream, this option isn't working. Your files are corrupt. Keep getting that song and dance.
Yeah, and like you said, it's just, it's weird, man. I'm serious. It's my dog, he'll bark through the middle of the night, like, and he'll go to the window, like, there's something outside there, and you go look out and there's nothing there. It's just like, man, I'm not kidding. It's just, it's really a lot of odd stuff. I found like cigarette butts in my yard, like somebody's out there and they're smoking, and I'm not kidding. Just a lot of weird stuff, since we did that documentary, a lot of weird shit and stuff.
Well, my paranoia was spiked 2 weeks ago. There was a sheriff sitting across the street in the parking lot of the doctor's office. He was there for 4 hours. What?
Sitting up there today.
He was sitting out there again today, I was told.
Before somebody over there came back.
So,
that's his spot.
but there was a sheriff sitting over there for 4 hours, and then there was more showed up, and my paranoia hit. And I thought, why is he sitting across the street from my house? And after I left, I guess they busted somebody down the street. I don't know what for. I have an idea. But, doing the research I do and having this show and the people I know like you guys, my paranoia kicked in.
It doesn't mean when there's a cop. It's like I lived in this neighborhood for 10 years, and we're like on the outskirts of Cincinnati. And I've never. I probably seen a Cincinnati cop 6 times. And just lately, I've been seeing them a lot, and they'll park right out in front of the house, across the street, and they'll sit there and they'll sit there and they'll sit there, and then then they're gone, and stuff. I mean, I get parent. Well, I found out there's a Cincinnati cop that just moved in across the street, and I guess they check on her, but still, it's just like, you kind of wondering what the hell is going on, because you don't, it makes you feel guilty, like you're doing something wrong, So I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, you ever see me on the 6 o'clock news or some bogus shit, you better you better know it's a freaking setup. That's what I tell everybody. You see me on the news, it's a freaking setup.
All righty. Well, like I said, you guys can come on anytime you want. We have a lot more we can talk about. We could talk about it for hours yet.
Yeah.
But we all got to get up early, make that money.
Yeah. All right, you guys be good.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted and updated on what's coming up in the future there.
All righty.
And thanks.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Excellent.
All right, you have a good one.
Thanks for
You
having
too.
us.
I will
All right.
talk to you later.
All right, bye. Bye.
Night.
Bye.
And thank you everyone for who tuned in tonight. We will probably have them on again real soon. Have a good evening.